Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and today begins Conspiracy Take the Crown spoiler season. You smell that in the air, it's sweet preview card goodness. I'm excited too, it's gonna be sweet. Good news for us, Wizards is already off to the races, releasing a buttload of new cards just today, including a new legendary creature, new mechanics, and a lot more. So sit back, relax, and get hyped for the craziest draft focus set you've ever seen. Sweet! Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Conspiracy, this is a special set, similar to the Commander products that print new cards but are only legal in Legacy and Vintage as far as constructed formats are concerned. The idea behind Conspiracy as a set is to play multiplayer drafts. You sit around a table, draft with your friends or at your local store, then you play giant four-person multiplayer games. Conspiracy is designed for this chaotic purpose. Keep that in mind as we go through the cards. Sets designed for multiplayer limited and also Commander, since, Commander is also multiplayer chaos, so enjoy. The part of Conspiracy I love the most, ridiculous card types that do ridiculous things. Take the Crown is not disappointing. The Conspiracy card type is back. You draft these cards just like regular cards. They come in packs and are draftable, but they have conditions and they aren't part of your deck when your match starts. They're in the command zone. You'll see what I mean in a second. Hold the Perimeter is a Conspiracy card. Start the game with this Conspiracy face up in the command zone. At the beginning of your first upkeep, put a 1/2 white soldier token with Defender onto the battlefield. At the beginning of each other player's first upkeep, they put a 1/1 goblin token onto the battlefield with This creature can't block. See what I mean? Ridiculous. So, Hold the Perimeter, if you draft it, is completely separate from your deck when you start playing. As soon as you take your first upkeep, you get a 1/2 Defender, and everyone else gets a 1/1 that can't block at the beginning of their first upkeep. Hilarious, right? Let's keep going. Natural Unity is a green Conspiracy card with Hidden Agenda. Start the game with this Conspiracy face down in the command zone and secretly name a card, which basically means write it down on a piece of paper and put it under the card so no one can see it. You may turn this Conspiracy face up anytime and reveal the chosen name. Creatures you control with the chosen name have. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1 green. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Natural Unity is the first of many cards to reward drafting multiples of a creature. This is a sub-theme in the set for sure. Hidden Agendas force you to choose a card name to basically buff that card. Get multiples of a creature, these start looking good. Let's look at something a bit more impactful though, shall we? Sovereign's Realm is a Conspiracy card that starts the game face up in the command zone. Your deck can't have basic land cards and your starting hand size is 5. Exile a card from your hand. This turn you may play basic land cards from outside the game. Basic lands you control have the ability to tap and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Okay. Sovereign's Realm basically gives you perfect mana for the entire game. You'll never miss a land drop and you'll always have all the colors you want. To play this Conspiracy, just draft the best card in every single pack, exile the cards you don't need for lands, and go nuts. Sovereign's Realm is hysterical. Summoner's Bond is a Conspiracy with a new ability, Double Agenda. Instead of naming 1 card secretly, you get to name 2. Whenever you cast a creature spell with one of the chosen names, you may search your library for a creature card with the other chosen name, reveal it, and put it into your hand. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of uses for this card, but even as it stands now, this is a great creature tutor for your best bomb. Just Double Agenda your biggest creature with a creature you have multiples of. Boom, done. Easy. It's a cool card. Reprint City, Inquisition of Kozilek is coming back in Conspiracy as a rare. I don't care that it's a rare, the set's going to be available everywhere, so I expect it'll tank Inquisition's price at least a little bit. Thank goodness for that, because the card is still north of $10. Totally unacceptable. Lots of power, great reprint for Modern, good stuff. Glad they're taking advantage, it's nice. The next special card we're talking about is the Monarch. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Nice typo there. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, its controller becomes the Monarch. Alright, so anyone in the game can be the Monarch, and obviously it's a good thing. You get an extra card on your end step, that's great. But also, a lot of cards in the set get better when you're the Monarch. I'll explain in a second. There are 3 ways to become the Monarch. The first is playing a card that makes you the Monarch. Those exist. The second, attacking the current Monarch, dealing them combat damage. That makes you the Monarch. Third, if a player who is the Monarch loses the game on your turn, you become the Monarch. If it's their turn, the monarchy goes to the next player in turn order. Sort of makes sense? Okay, let's look at some monarchy cards. Knights of the Black Rose is 3 of anything, 1 white and 1 black for a 4/4 human knight. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Whenever an opponent becomes the Monarch, if you were the Monarch as the turn began, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. What a great way to show the benefit of having the monarchy. You play this on your turn. Because you're the Monarch, you'll probably draw a card on your end step, and then when someone does take it from you, if they do, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. Find a way to flicker this even better. We should probably take a look at the actual Monarch now though, right? I mean, she is the ruler of Poliano. Queen Marchesa is 1 of anything, 1 red, 1 white, and 1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature human assassin with death touch and haste. When she enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent is the Monarch, put a 1/1 black assassin creature token with death touch and haste onto the battlefield. Queen Marchesa is crazy. Talk about Queen of Assassins. So you play her, become the Monarch, probably draw your card. Then whenever someone else takes it from you, at the beginning of your upkeep, you get a little hasty death touch 1/1 assassin to go take the monarchy back. How awesome is that? Flavor-wise, very cool. But there's something even more important we need to pay attention to here, her color identity. Remember, Conspiracy is going to bring a lot of new cards into Commander. The last Marchesa made huge waves in the format. This one's no longer Grixis, she's Mardu now. That's incredibly important. Here's why. Mardu has always been a color combination, at least in Commander, that's usually pretty constrained when considering build-arounds. Most of the available Mardu commanders have clear strategies you need to use them for, or there's no point. Marchesa is incredibly open-ended. You can bring that deck in whatever direction you want. Most importantly, this is more card draw for Mardu. Sure, black has strong card draw, but the best black card draw requires a pretty significant color investment. Bringing the monarchy to Commander could help Mardu with their serious lack of card advantage compared to the other 3-color decks. Just something to think about. Next up, we have a couple draft face-up cards that I think you're going to like. Poliano Vanguard is 2 mana for a 2/2 human soldier, drafted face-up. As you draft a creature card, you may reveal it, note its creature types, then turn Poliano Vanguard face down. Other creatures you control of a type you noted 4 cards named Poliano Vanguard get +1/+1. Essentially, this is an adaptive automaton that only gets the creature types of a creature you choose that you also draft. Now, you only get to reveal 1 creature for this ability, so try to make it good. But this is another card that supports taking multiple copies of a creature card. Gotta love lords. Animus of Predation is 5 mana for a 4/4 avatar, drafted face up. As you draft a card, you may remove it from the draft face up, meaning those cards aren't in your card pool anymore, you can't use them. If you removed a creature card with flying from the draft with Animus of Predation, it has flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, and Vigilance. So basically what you're hoping to do here is draft a few of these avatars, and then when you're left with the bad cards in the pack, you take whatever has a mechanic on it, exile it, and make your avatar bigger. I can get behind that, it's a neat card actually. Giving it even just 1 good mechanic makes it more than merely playable. Let's take a look at more mechanics. Lieutenants of the Guard is 5 mana for a 2/2 human soldier with Council's Dilemma. When it enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for strength or numbers. Put a +1/+1 counter on Lieutenant of the Guard for each strength vote, and put a 1/1 white soldier token onto the battlefield for each number vote. Another hilarious conspiracy mechanic, voting. With this card in particular, you see why it's 5 mana for a measly 2/2. Because hopefully there are going to be 4 people voting. Maybe you'll end up with a 4/4 and 2 1/1 tokens, who knows? That's the fun part of voting. You get something good either way. Of course your opponent will pick what's best for them, but come on, it's still funny. Speaking of voting, Illusion of Choice is 1 blue mana for an instant. You choose how each player votes this turn, draw a card. Isn't this perfect? Talk about the quintessential blue card, this is wonderful. The card we just looked at wasn't too impactful, but you're about to see some pretty intense voting cards. Keep Illusion of Choice in mind as we go over them. Capital Punishment is 4 of anything and 2 black for a sorcery. Starting with you, each player votes for death or taxes. Each opponent sacrifices a creature for each death vote and discards a card for each taxes vote. Now this is impactful. Let's say again there are 4 players. 2 votes for death, each opponent sacrifices 2 creatures. 2 votes for taxes, each opponent discards 2 cards. It's pretty devastating. But if you have Illusion of Choice, you get to decide what those votes are. Force them to sacrifice 4 creatures or discard 4 cards. It's totally brutal. Man, I love Illusion of Choice and Capital Punishment. This card is going to be awesome in Commander. New mechanic time. Jeering Homunculus is 2 mana for a 0/4 Homunculus. When it enters the battlefield, you may goad target creature. Until your next turn, that creature attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. Yes, what a wonderful mechanic. First of all, goad is a great name for it, spot on. Second, not only do you force a creature you don't like to attack, but you even force it to attack someone who isn't you. This is wonderful. Goad is going to be a great mechanic. Good thing we have another goad card to talk about. Besmirch is 1 of anything and 2 red for a sorcery. Until end of turn, gain control of target creature and it gains haste. Untap and goad that creature. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, this is so cool. Besmirch lets you take something gigantic, attack with it, then your opponent gets it back, and now they have to attack with it too. Attack someone who isn't you. Besmirch may be my favorite card spoiled today. Talk about complete and utter chaos for someone's commander. This is the best. This is why Conspiracy is going to be awesome. Love goad. The last mechanic we're looking at today is Melee. Deputized Protesters, 3 mana for a 2/1 human warrior with menace and melee. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked with a creature this combat. So basically, Melee supports you bashing your head against all the walls at once. This mechanic's trying to get you to make enemies. Card gets bigger the more you upset other players. Sure, what could go wrong? The politics in this game are great. Where do I sign up for the release event? This was easily one of the longest preview videos we've ever had. Wow. I gotta know, how are you feeling about Conspiracy? Is this a set you can get behind? We're not talking standard or modern. The focus is on a fun multiplayer draft experience. If you haven't played the original Conspiracy yet, you're going to be in for a treat, I think. Seriously, what do you like? What do you not like? Any of these cards really stick out to you? Excited to hear what you have to say. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Conspiracy spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Marchesa is an awesome new potential commander. If you don't want to run her as the commander, totally fine. You have other options. I don't think Zergo Helm Smasher is going to have trouble keeping your monarchy alive. Dude's aggressive. Best part, card is 60 cents. Yeah, really cheap. As good a time as any to get this Mardu commander. Not something you're looking for, no problem. Conspiracy 1 booster boxes are still reasonably priced despite being out for more than 2 years now. If you want one, you can get one easily for $95. Super fair, great set, you won't be disappointed. Click the links, help the channel, enjoy.